That was the last day of my internship. A great adventure just came to an end. The night I was packing to go home, the telephone in my room rang. I couldn't believe it. The director called to ask me to stay and help the museum build a bigger skeleton. There was a vacant position because one of the workers got sick. I felt bad for the guy, but I was so glad there was a chance to work in the museum for longer. The decision was a no-brainer.
I went to the museum the next day. Although the place wasn't new to me, this particular moment felt different. It was the first time I was asked to enter the museum's workshop. With my heart pounding and my hands sweating, I walked towards the door. I've got to admit, the bigger skeleton the director was talking about was indeed a huge one. I was dumbstruck when I was faced with the legendary Tyrannosaurus. Even in my dreams, I would never fathom that our museum was in possession of such a treasure. A completed skeleton of Tyrannosaurus looked majestic, and I had the honor to contribute to it. Yet another beautiful moment that has been etched in my memory forever. I graduated from college at the age of 24. I was pretty amped up. My marks were great, so I didn't anticipate any problems finding a job, but that was about to change soon. For the first 6 months after graduation, my focus was to find a job in the field of paleontology, or at least something that relates to it. I submitted my resume for every paleontologist job I could find, but the jobs were either already taken or I lacked the experience. After 6 months, I started looking for any job, but that also didn't come easily. I was trying hard, but to no avail. 1 year after graduation, things finally started to turn around, although it wasn't exactly how I had imagined it. My grandfather left his car workshop to me in his will. I wasn't particularly talented when it came to the automotive world, but I knew a thing or two, and at that time, the thought of becoming a car mechanic was at least something. He had a lot of weird and crazy ideas. There was one time Grandpa bought an old Russian truck that was clearly beyond fixing, but that didn't scare him. He always used to tell us he'd finally finish repairing it.
Unfortunately, his body didn't catch up with his spirit, and he had to pass on his little project. I decided to clean up the workshop for him.
found the lost fossil piece that I found during the school trip. Despite it being over 15 years ago, I felt the exact same mix of excitement and joy that I'd felt on that beach years ago. The desire to search for fossils has become immediately obvious. With full force, all my problems suddenly ceased to exist, and I quickly came up with a plan. I just had to put it into action. I started implementing my plan by acquiring a set of excavation tools. This was possible thanks to a garage sale. The newspaper I found while cleaning the garage gave me an idea to call my university professor. During our conversation, it turned out that he was about to start a new phase of research in exactly the same place as before. However, a lot has changed since then. The quarry has been closed and the underground search for fossils will be conducted at a deeper level than before. Despite the limited budget he had at his disposal, we reached an agreement and I signed the contract. any problem, I noticed the excavation area in its lowest part. This is where I was to start my search. A few days earlier, a strong wind had destroyed the excavation equipment, so my first job was to clean up the exploration area and set up a new fence. first professional excavation was an experience that I'll always remember very fondly. Once I took a good look at the fossils I found, I knew I discovered something huge. I told my professor about it right away. A few hours later, he arrived at the excavation site in person and confirmed my assumptions. What I found was part of a dromaeosaur skeleton. It was an important enough discovery for a professor to reach out to media, which were happy to take up the topic. Soon, my discovery had become a countrywide sensation.